As you all know, and as I've said in my camera bag video, I have a new addition to, well, this channel and my filmmaking career that's just starting. This is the Blackmagic Pocket 4K cinema camera. Well, not a real cinema camera, it's like more on the low-end cinema camera type, but it's still a really good camera. And I have this thing for like, I think almost a month or like a couple weeks. And today I'm gonna talk about what I like about this camera, what could improve, and just the first impressions that I had on this thing. So the cool thing with this thing is, first of all, it's like on the cheaper side of the cinema cameras. The body alone comes in for around 1300 euros. And with a lens and with some accessories, you can just make that price as high as you want. And it depends on the use, what you're gonna use this camera for. And that sort of thing. So this camera shoots in 12-bit B-RAW and ProRes. It shoots in a flat color profile. It has built-in LUTs, so you don't necessarily have to shoot in a flat color profile. If you want to shoot high frame rate things, another good thing is that this thing shoots 2.6K 120 FPS. So that's also really cool. You can just zoom in a little bit, so it doesn't necessarily need to be full HD. It can go a little bit higher than full HD. Another nice thing about this camera is that it feels nice in the hand. It's like a big bulky camera with a big monitor that has touchscreen. So yes, you don't have a lot of buttons right here. As you know, with the Sony and Nikon and Canon cameras, they all have like a lot of buttons on here. But this just has 6 buttons on here and just some function buttons and some white balance, ISO and other buttons on here. The rest of it is touchscreen. When I bought this camera, I had the choice of a really large variety of lenses. This thing takes micro 4/3 lenses, but you can also buy a Filtrox or a Metabone speed booster, and now you have the choice of all the EF mount lenses for the Canon cameras. So yeah, it works really well with those lenses. This camera is like for the cinema things, but you can like kind of vlog with it. You have 2 buttons on this side of the camera right here, which is autofocus, so you press it once and then it focuses again in the middle. And you have auto exposure, so with those buttons you can just press them like from time to time, and you have like all your settings be the same again, like the exposure be the same and the focus on your face be the same. With video it shoots like a lot of codecs. You have Blackmagic RAW, that's like the Blackmagic version of RAW, and you have Apple ProRes, and for both of those they have like different bit rates and quality, things like that. So yeah, a lot of good things to talk about with this camera, but everything has like a bad side to it. And for this camera it was like really hard to just point out some bad things, but there are also some flaws that you could see directly when using this camera. So the first thing, and if you have seen more reviews of this, you'll know that the battery life on this camera is literally garbage. Like, it's really bad. Another thing with this camera is it's really cheap for the quality it has. After shooting a lot with the Sony a6600 and going to this camera, it felt like really big, which was like a nice thing. But also the buttons and just the build quality is like a really hard plastic with some metal on some sides. And Sony just feels like a lot more durable with some metal and just some better rubber at the sides. But that's what it is. You pay for the inside of this camera for the really good film quality, and that's with a loss of the outside. So for me it wasn't really a deal breaker. It is just something that I've noticed in comparison when filming with the Sony a6600. And the last thing, which isn't necessarily bad, but the lightweight of this camera. Some people will find it really nice that it's lightweight. For me, it's not the nicest thing because this camera doesn't have IBIS, and I wouldn't recommend using the in-body stabilization of the lens because it will look really crappy when trying to stabilize. But the thing with the cinema cameras is if they're a little bit heavier, you can have that nice camera shake, and if they're too light, you'll notice a lot of small shakes. But that's just something you can practice with, and isn't really a deal breaker for me. So yeah, that's it for me. I hope you've learned some new things about this camera. Maybe you're looking to buy your first cinema camera or just first camera. This is like a really cool thing to start with. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.